So here we have Godzilla against Mecha Godzilla 2002, I think it is. Yeah, 2003 was Tokyo SOS. So what we're gonna look to in today is the beginning scene, I believe it is when they look in the past, is when they showing what happened before the actual events of the most of the movie. That's animation right there. You can see the lines in it. It doesn't really look like water. That's animation. So I'm guessing that's actually really good. Okay, so what I think they did here, they had either a blue screen or a green screen. I could see some green down here. I don't really know. The green screen might be at a, I don't know. This is just really good. It's a lot better than the 2000 Megagearus one. Uh, so I could see some line right here around it. I don't really know what they did here though. Of course the water coming up like this is animation, meaning that they had to have a green screen behind him. Because the rain is actually hitting the sky, meaning that the water would have had to be, couldn't have been added after. Because you can see the water hitting this guy coming on him, and the water going down the poncho he's wearing, or whatever they call it. Pretty sure it's called a poncho. But this in the background is animation. So I think that this is green screen. The square where you see my mouse is, square right here is animation, and green screened. I mean, sorry. Behind him is green screened. So meaning that they had a green screen behind him and whatever this wall is over here. Unless this wall is added in too. So this is animation, that water right there, that back. The water that actually comes up is real though. And then they have Godzilla coming up, which is really good. These are really good. Really, really good. That's like, that beats like some American movies at the time. This is like really good. Look at this. That's really good. That wasn't the scene I wanted to talk about though. Let's skip over to the scene I was wanting to talk about. So it was when they shoot Godzilla with the maser tanks. Like this looks really good too. The animation in this movie is just so good overall. It's not really explainable. It's just overall good. I don't want to skip over when they actually shoot it. Okay, here it is. This is what I wanted to talk about. This effect, it doesn't really look that good. It looks like really out of place. There's not really any shading. Look, it looks like it's something from the Showa Godzilla films. Is not real. There's no shading around it. There's what would be for like the 90s Godzilla films. 90s Godzilla films got electricity, probably the best out of any Godzilla series. I'll show you some of that. I think it's in Space Godzilla. I'll show you that after this film. So yeah, this laser effect is not really that good. When it hits Godzilla, actually, it looks a little bit better. But over here, it's not really that good at all. It just looks kind of bad to me. It doesn't really look like there was much time put into it, especially considering what they did earlier. That was like awesome. With Godzilla in front of the buildings and stuff, it looked really good. The next scene I want to go to is Mecca Godzilla Flying. Right here, what it looks like is, I don't know exactly how they blew up the planes. It looks like they just have the destruction. It doesn't look like they want to actually blow up anything in the guy in the suit's face, so they didn't have it right there. So it looks like they have it flying by and then they explode it in the air. It's like, looks like a model. But as you can see, Godzilla right here is edited in. That's more obvious than really any of the other scenes that they showed in this film. And especially when it gets brighter, you can see the dark outline around him. It's very obvious. So let's go on to the next scene. I want to talk about Mecha Godzilla Flying. So this is probably one of the coolest scenes right here. It's Mecha Godzilla Flying. I'll explain exactly how they did it. I don't know how they did the last part. I don't really even know how they did this, but it's obvious that they green screened around him. They somehow, maybe they had him, I don't know what they did. It's pretty good. They edited around him. They cut out the background. It looks like what they did was, I'll try to explain it. So what they did was they had it, the darkness, the brightness and darkness, they had it lowered. They had the saturation up, and as he got closer to the screen, or the people watching it. Wait, why is the moon so big? That is really weird. So so as he gets closer to the camera, it gets brighter and the contrast gets lower. So you can see that he gets brighter and less contrast. So what I think they did was, it's pretty good effect. They had these planes flying over first, which was green screened, of course. They had a green screen behind him. He's not flying. He's not getting closer to anything. He's staying where he is. They probably took it actually like relatively close. It's probably like about like this in real life. The picture, what he would look like on the camera. They green screened the background out. They took this, and then they actually made it grow. They made it get bigger and bigger and bigger the closer it got to the screen, which is a pretty good effect too. See? And you can see, because he kind of shakes up and down. This right here is animation, but it looks awesome. I'm pretty sure it's animation. If it's not animation, it's in its suit, which I don't think it is. Wow, that just looks like total improvement from anything in any other Godzilla or monster movie that I've seen from Japan. That is just really good. That beats everything in like Godzilla Final Wars, let's just say, for example. Of course it doesn't beat the Godzilla 1998 film. That film had, it's American film. It had lots of, probably huge budget, and animation that time was really good too. But this film I think is second best before Godzilla 2014 and the whole era of total CGI Godzilla films. Like right here, I think that was animation. I'm not sure that was the actual suit. Right here, how they did that was that they, I'm not sure exactly how they threw Godzilla like that, but what they did here was they green screened around him. They, had the brightness and the contrast on pretty high, and then as you can see, it gets lower and lower. Showing that he was cooling down from the high speed he was going. He was getting really hot, and the metal was starting to glow from the heat, which is, I think, a pretty good sorry, I can't talk right now. The pretty good effect. We have Mechagodzilla. What else do we have? Spinning Godzilla. Yes, that was a pretty good effect too. Right here, you see the lasers? They look all really good. They look pretty good. I wouldn't say that. Let's skip over to the part where he spins Godzilla. I think it's when she says that she'll show you what Godzilla can do. Mechagodzilla can do or something like that. Yeah, it's right here. So right there, as you can see, they use the Megagearus effect. I don't know exactly how they do it. It's obvious that different people at the time knew how to do it, since I think this is a different person who did this film than the Megagearus one. So he shoots a fire, and you see the Megagearus motion blur behind him, which is a really good effect. And it looked pretty good there. Right here it doesn't look as good. He's obviously green screened around Godzilla right here. He's in the back. He's not really jumping. They green screen around him and then they add some effects and they move him around the screen and make him bigger to make it look like he's jumping closer. And that there's motion blur, as you can see right here at his feet, so that it looks realistic. And right here you can see he's a little blue around him, and he's overall a little bit too blue. He's not the silvery white kind of color that he is in this kind of environment. He's more blue, meaning that they probably use a blue screen to match the sky, but when he lands it doesn't really look as good. Right here, it looks pretty good, but it's still edited in. Like right here, he's obviously here. So that wasn't practical before, that was animation. What else do we have? Oh yeah, we didn't get to Godzilla, him spinning around Godzilla yet. Or spinning around Godzilla. Technically, Mechagodzilla is the one doing it. So let's just skip this stuff. When he falls and then he grabs his tail. She controls him to do that. I'll explain how the people who made the movie actually did this. So right here they have him on strings. The actor on strings, he's in the Godzilla suit still. Right here, it looks like they put something in his tail so that it's still. And then they have, it looks like that. I don't know, it just doesn't really look like Godzilla is really there. Like right here it looks like he's there, but then it kind of looks blue behind him. So he picks him up like this, and then it looks like it's animated around Godzilla. I'm not really sure about that 100%. It looks like, it's hard to explain that one, but it looks like Godzilla's animated throughout that whole thing. Don't know if Mechagodzilla was here. He might not actually be there. Because the movements just aren't natural. It just kind of looks like a white outline around him. Even though they add some motion blur, it just doesn't look right. This one just kind of looks like he's like a stick figure, and it's not really anything's moving. Which I guess it would have to be for this scene to work. But I think that maybe Mechagodzilla and Godzilla are edited in. Right here, he's edited in. But what they do is they make him bigger and bigger the closer he gets to the screen. And then what they do is they shake the picture that they have of this right here. Like, this is not real. This is not real buildings. These are models. But they're just really, really, really good models. Probably like the best models in any monster movie. Even, it's hard to say. Final Wars had some good ones too, but this one was the best one, I think, up until, well, probably the best models ever in a Godzilla film. Because now they use CGI and stuff. I don't think they'll ever go back to the buildings. But yeah. At least for the time. Like, a lot of buildings in the 90s, they kind of look more plain. At least in Tokyo. because they do show real in the 90s Godzilla films, they show the real buildings and they look basically the same as the models. So, I always thought that the models looked plain, but it's just that the buildings looked the same way. But here the buildings you could see a little bit detail, you see the lines around it, you see the gray stuff or the brown stuff which looks like a little bit like rust or something. Either that or it's something else, but it's a really good detail. All the buildings are detailed good. It looks like an actual city, especially since Godzilla's edited in here. So what they do is they show them right here, and then they shake the screen with some CGI rocks coming up out of the ground. Like that, see? Is that it for this movie? Freezing buildings. So that's right here about. Right here. I'll explain how they did this. This is a pretty easy one. So actually what they did to turn Mechagodzilla around was that, you could kind of see it, he's going up and down a little bit. It's not really consistent. That's because it's not animation, but it's actual, what they're actually doing is that they spin him around in the real suit. They spin the real suit around, and then what happens is that they green screen that, and then they make it bigger to make it, the closer it gets to the screen, they make it bigger. To make it look like it's getting closer to the screen. Like this right here. Like that. And you could see he kind of goes up and down a little bit. He goes up and down. And the building's right here. So I'll explain how they did that. This is a picture. Or maybe not. So this is a video. So this is animation, of course, obviously. They didn't actually do these to real buildings. And these are real buildings, you could tell. So they take these buildings, they get them for the animation, they copy them, probably around like this line right here. They take this, and then they add their own animation stuff that overlaps the real stuff, the real buildings. You can see the smoke overlaps the stuff over here, and the real buildings that aren't affected by this freeze ray. And then what happens is that these buildings disintegrate, meaning that they just crop the buildings out of the picture. It's not really hard to do, especially at a dark background like this. It's a little harder for video, to do in a video, but it's still not that difficult actually. It's a very simple technique, but the thing that is not simple is the effect that the buildings actually disintegrate like this. This is actually a really good effect. Even for the time, it's still a really good effect. So this is pretty good. And yeah, that's about it. I don't have, for that movie, you guys didn't really give a exact thing that you wanted. Oh man. And I've spent like 24 minutes on this one movie. Overall, I probably spent like an hour so far. But we got that out of the way. Only things we have left, Godzilla vs. Valente, which I will show next, because I wanted to show the mazers. Actually, I'll show Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla too, because the effects in the animation and stuff were just like top notch with the electricity effects. I don't think the electricity effects have ever been done better than the 90s Godzilla films. At least for like certain scenes. Certain scenes they don't look as good, but most of the time they look really good in the later Heisei Godzilla series. But let's go to the next movie, Godzilla vs. Valente, and I'll show you an example of Space Godzilla for the electricity, just for reference.